Probably in a really good tomb. Here we go. Yeah, look, really good tomb and shit. Now, did I finish in what I was doing in here, or was I just coming in here for shits and giggles? What's the crack? What's happening? What are we doing? What's this game about? That's our current objective. All right. Hey, what do we do? Just do I just go into there? Oh, I think that was the main mission, right? No active side missions. Survivor guide. So just find the path of the dead. Okay, find another way out of the temple. Out of the temple. I'm assuming it loaded me facing this way. I'm just gonna Lara Croft swan dive into this, I think. Alright. Well, she didn't even dive. How thoroughly disappointing. Right, what's the swim down button? I really can't remember. Oh shit, no, I can't remember any buttons. She's just, yeah, go back up, go back up. Go back up until I learn to swim, Lara. I don't want you to drown, girl. How do I? So, B is to go under. Ah, keep holding B. Keep holding B. And how do I just go forward? Lara, you Davy cow. Oh, maybe I hold A? Hey, Gizmo Shizmo, how you doing there, buddy? Welcome. Oh, dear. She is very much a dizzy bitch. I mean, if you'd done a cool dive, we'd be halfway there by now. No, so A is go up, B is go down. What's just swim about? Oh, is that doing it? Oh, I was just being a tit. I have to, like, just let go of one and do the other. Okay, it makes sense. Oh, shit. Ow, fuck off! How do I... Fuck off! Oh, okay, I died. Okay. Right. Piranhas. I have to keep going, though. Okay, thanks. What's happening now? I definitely lost how to swim again. Nope, pressing the wrong buttons. What is this game? Is there, like, a faster swim? Fuck off! How do I attack these fuckers? Get into the light, Lara! Okay, right. So it starts me in the water. So I assume I am meant to be going in the water. Maybe I'm meant to power swim? How do I power swim? So that's down, that's up. Right trigger does nothing, that does nothing, that does nothing. Need to equip a stake, yeah. Decoy stakes that just drop around me. So is there no like fast swim or something? That feels like fast swim. Alright, come on, Lara. Okay, so it's definitely something I'm going to do in regards to the piranhas. Because they're getting me quite a lot, it seems. Right, okay, we'll figure it out. Maybe I have to swim more carefully. Maybe I'm being a bit too blatant. Maybe piranhas can't see me if I'm in the reeds. Fucking hell, yeah. There we go. I'm a fucking idiot. Okay, we got it. I just forgot that you sometimes have to be stealthy in stealth games. Oh shit, there's piranhas everywhere. I'll have some of that. Fucking A. Piranha everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Okay. Let's go this way. Yeah, right, man. Honestly, these like the trilogy of like the latest trilogy of the Tomb Raider games. This is the third one, but they've all looked stunning for their time, for fucking sure. Oh no, I didn't mean to press that again. It's just I saw a marker on screen, so I pressed it. But yeah, it is gorgeous for sure. I think a lot of games like this as well. Like there's a lot to be said for like more story-driven linear games. Like, don't get me wrong, open world's cool, and this does have some open world elements to it. But is this where I was before? I don't even know where I am. Oh, I'm in Piranhaville. Okay, yep, shit, fuck. Yeah, just kill me, it's fine. But yeah, but where it's a bit more like, can be a bit more driven, they can kind of focus on these little bits a bit more, can't they? Which I find quite cool. Maybe I'm gonna go up here, or did I come in through this way? Oh, no, there's some motherfuckers. Oh, there's a shiny thing over there, so I'm gonna go over there. Just wanted to monthly drop in. Gonna play Frisbee with the daughter. Nice. Sounds good, man. You have a great one. And yeah, I'll be keeping on it for fucking sure. Lara will be well in a way to Victory. I'll be past the goddamn Mario levels or water levels, and we'll be good. We'll be good. But yeah, have a lovely day. Hope you and your daughter have a banging time playing frisbee. Breathe, gal. Breathe. Right, so I just came from that way. I think I'm just going in a big circle. There's a map, right? I want to get over there. So I need to like crawl around the side maybe? So I need maybe turn back. Alright, Lara, let's go. Okay, and where are we now? So kind of need to go to the left. Alright, there is a left turn. And we'll go this way. There is piranha. They're from the Amazon. Oh, fuck off, piranha. Oh. Lara needs some oxygen. She gonna die today. Oh, Lara. Make it over there, girl. Make it over there, girl. Come on, Lara, you got this. Hold in there, girl. That's it. Whew. Alright, I want to have a quick sip of tea. Water levels are too tense. Am I going the right way though? Probably. Or not. Oh, Lara, you goddamn. Oh, just keep going, just keep going. Alright. Oh, stop getting caught. Lara, you're gonna die. You plonker. Whew. Alright, alright, alright. Okay.
Equalizing
hey, Mojo baby! How you doing today, guys? Drown the nerd! Boo this man! Oh, thank God I'm out of water. You've now passed. You've come in at a good time past the water stage. No one likes the water stage.
Hey! Jesus, don't do that. Sorry. Anybody else make it? Fuck the final.
Get it back out.
Base camp. This is Omicron team. We've been ambushed. Base camp, come in.
I'll make some more.
Anything? Quiet. I need to hear.
Doing splendid. Cheers, dude. Oh, hang on. Hold Y to fire a rope arrow onto enemy, hoisting him up and killing him. Only one body can be suspended from a branch. Is it now? Am I meant to jump to another branch or some shit? What the fuck? Honey baby! How you doing as well, geezer? Yeah, water levels are horrifying. I'm on a branch. Do I need to be on a different branch? Oh, that branch.
Land, anyone?
Hello. Straight predator, that shit. Why wouldn't it be calling for someone at this point, you know?
Holy Christ. They're here.
Nah. Just an optical illusion, fam.
What are they so afraid of?
You, Lara! You just hung a man and shot his friend in the head. They're scared of you. But how you boys doing? I hope you are splendid. And Mojo, dude. Soon, fam. Soon you will have everything you've ever dreamed of. You know what I'm talking about.
Shit, I lost my radio in the crash.
Don't worry, I'll murder you. Oh, he's got a net on his face. I hope it's not an anti-arrow net. They're the worst, man. What the fuck is that? That looked...
What was that?
That's what I'm saying, Laura. It looked... humanish? We're gonna pause for a second. They all make me think of how terrified I was under the water level with sharks and Superman. It's exactly it. It's Mario level. Took me ages to be able to play that level without quitting. That's it. Soon, fam. Soon. And we're good.
Where's our backup?
You got backup got eaten by a witch.
Tell them to hurry, goddammit!
I'll have this though. Nice. Oh, a book. I bet that's in. I can hear that growler. Not soon enough though, but a couple of weeks still. Hey man.
Calm down. Can you tell us what happened?
Oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have run in here gun ho. How do I change weapon again? Like one of these or some shit? Don't run at a girl with a gun. How do I reload? That's not reload. That's reload. Oh Jesus, got there eventually. This is controller aiming. Stealthy, stealthy, stealthy. Stealthy, stealthy, stealthy. I'm just saving the witch.
Give us 60 seconds and we're in.
60 seconds? I got 60 seconds to fuck off. Ooh. Trying to get user 5 finished? Yeah, man, that's it. Tie up any ends on that PlayStation, because that shit's basically a Blu-ray player now. They sound like they're having a pretty shitty time. Yeah, I was wondering what those are. Alright.
There has to be a way out of here. Maybe in the direction they came from.
Let's just run to the screen. Oh, did I? I didn't mean to put on mud. Cool though, I suppose, yeah. I'm happy with that. Oh yeah, I forgot I could do eagle vision. Does she want me to go back out the way I came in? Oh, not a house. Oh, it's not a house at all. Pfft, barely explosive. So am I just going to get out? So slightly to the right. So I'm going to go over there somewhere. You up here? Oh, she can climb up that. Alright, sweet. I forget what you're allowed to climb in games. I need to put like big yellow markings for what you can climb, red markings for what you can explode. You know, that's how we do. All the build up to this, and the game you're most excited about is a £2 one called Sim Casino. Nice. I can probably go back to this now, right? I'm stealthy now. Okay, let's swan dive into the puddle. I wasn't a swan dive at all. Hello? Yeah, I'm too used to yellow markers found it hard on Horizon 2 where you can climb. That's it, man. Oh, thanks.
God, bodies everywhere.
Yeah, but
Creatures kill them.
got gold on them and shit.
But why?
So
Jonah, Abby.
dickheads.
I saw something. Trinity is being hunted by some kind of creature.
Yep. It's pretty fucked
They
up.
make hissing sounds and move so fast.
And also,
That sounds like the legend of the
can I have your
Pishtaco.
stuff? Yeah, sweet.
You pulling our legs?
Legend of the Pishtaco.
I know what I saw.
Pishtaco.
Yeah, I'm on
It
my
didn't
way.
look like a taco. It looked like a fucked up human being. Sounded a bit odd too. Alright, let's go. Whee! Let's not stay in the water for too long when there's creepy noises. Just send a quick message to a missed call. Groovy, and let's go on this way. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm full of that.
Impossible. I can't carry
Impossible.
anymore.
It's impossible. I simply cannot carry. I mean, just, you got hands? Tie your hair up. I mean, use your hair as a basket. You're not trying to look like fashionable right now, right? Like, we in the shit, girl. Can we kill that? Huh, yeah. It's called hunting. Oh, right. Isn't it funny what we call murder? Alright, this way still. Sweet. Oh, now we got any little story time from Lara? Oh, no story. I thought she would give us some story time seeing as we've seen a pish taco. So I have that. Oh man, there's so many of these. Right, okay. Use arrow simultaneously. 2 lock target. Okay. What's next weapon upgrade? Which will draw more quicker. I mean, that one could be cool. Virtual assistance when aiming. Resist damage from enemies for a short period. Capacitate unarmored enemies with a counterattack. Kill a second enemy. Oh, oh, that could be good actually. How many is that? 2. Increase breath capacity. That could be good too, actually, because they keep putting us in water, which is really mean. Okay, so and then increase chance of recovering arrows when looting. One of the branches were prepared to kill an enemy, hide their corpse in a canopy. Oh, that sounds nice. Okay. Okay, so let's go for... There was a semi-decent one I saw over here that I wanted. Reach full draw. Maybe that was it. Was it that one? I'm going to go for that one. Let's do it. Good choice. Was there one over here that I was thinking of? These all look shit now. Oh, increase breath. Yeah, let's do that one. Alright, nice. Free upgrades available. Bloody hell. Is that for the one I'm using? Which one am I using? This one. There's no upgrades for that one. Oh yeah, because the one I'm using cannot have upgrades. I can do 5 upgrades to that. So could I make that one better than this one? So I can put the damage up. Accuracy up. Rate of fire up. Reload speed up and ammo up. Right, let's do damage. Accuracy would be better. Maybe a bit more ammo. Or can I just do all of them? Alright, well. Upgrade that shit! I need some more pelt now. So now, is that better than the gun I'm using now or not? It is better than the gun I'm using now. Alright. Change clothes and we're on. Can I put like a lucky charm on it? Right, so that's the gun I got at the moment. That one's way under. That one's pretty under as well. Bow wise, that one's decent. That one's just got a shit hold time, but it could be better. Let's see if hold time is something we can do on this one. That brings up a little bit. Let's see how far we can get it. Okay, so that's better than the hold time. Well, I don't hold it for that long, actually. So maybe that is a better one to do. Yeah, fuck it. We'll go for that one for now. Maybe I should just upgrade everything, right? I should not save any materials, and I should just keep upgrading everything as I go along. That's probably the best shout. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. Two Ds for a double dose of Lara's pimpin'. Double Ds aren't the only thing, and just weapon based with Lara either. No, okay, so I can still do upgrades on these. Alright, let's make some materials. Boom shakalaka indeed. Oh, my bot is working then. Huh. I didn't think my bot was working, but it's just not connecting to my my Discord for some reason. Oh, come on. Now, is that gun better now? Not really, no. Not at all. That's not good at all. Okay, so we have a lot of Lara costumes. Let's change it up a bit. So this one has no benefits. And she looks like she's going to the gym. This one, perception herb effects longer, time slowed when aiming. I mean, that's cool. The costume's cool. Yeah, turn around for us, Lara. Yeah, just give a spin. Yeah, nice one, nice one. Oh, this is like, oh no, that's a swimming outfit? Increase the amount of ammunition crafted on the run and gain bonus from stealth kills. Gain bonus XP from non-stealth kills. Oh wait, take less damage from bullets and arrows. That could be cool. She doesn't look that cool though. Health regenerates more quickly. I think this is the one I liked before. Fire resistant, you get knocked down less, and your health regenerates quicker. That's a pretty good one so far. Don't care about the herbs. It's a double melee, fuck that. Additional ammo projectile resistance, bonus XP, enemy awareness, bonus XP, focus time, and these are just older ones. Alright, cool. Well, she's going to rock that outfit for now then. And yeah, sweet. Have a sip of a tea, get back to it. Fam, she already got the herb, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, what am I doing? Return to Kawaki Yaku. What wasn't I told just not to? Oh, this thing. It's bloody game. Put mud on yourself. Pog one. Uh-oh. What did I do? You won't let me? Bullshit. You got touched by an angel today, son. Where's Jonah? You're not Jonah.
Hi there.
Hi.
See anything that you like?
No. A revolver? Okay. So it doesn't tell you what the it doesn't tell you like any of what it does though. Just strength type damage. So it's a revolver, semi-auto pistol, hits like a truck at 20 miles per hour. Oh, it would still hurt, but would you die? Like if you got hit by a truck at 20? I think if you got hit and then knocked out the way, it'd be right. It would mean the difference being hit by a car. But if you got hit and then put under, then it could crush you. But we're not talking about it crushing you like a truck. We're talking it hitting you like a truck, right? Trying to get a fresh blood sorted for the arrival. Booked a couple of days of work too for a long ass first weekend. Fuck yes, Mojo. Doing it right. Doing it right. Increase soon. A self pistol ammo pouch. That's a lot of money though, fam. Can we... Some... Costume. Boots. Standard arrows. I mean, you're not really selling this stuff to me, dude. It's like... pretty basic shit, you know? Your shit shop, fam. Your shop shit, fam. Yeah. Where is this bitch? Oh, he's the other... No, he's in those rooms.
I've got some stuff to trade if you're looking.
Trade your mama. Oh, hold down the sticks, run fast. Fucking hell, I'm an idiot.
Jonah?
We're downstairs.
Hey, Jonah.
Have you been down there?
None of his profile all secret and shit. You expect no less from a man wanted for crimes against mashups. Gotta be careful.
The mural showed a series of trials.
Lucky that didn't impale you, Lara. Seems like we can't go on an adventure with Jonah again.
Okay, I'll go ahead and meet you on the other side.
Alright. So it isn't that bad of a thing at all. Jeez, just overreacting, all of you. If I just do this, woo, I don't actually have to hold the forward button. I can just make a run. That frees up a hand for activities. Can you dive? What's wrong with you? Why can't I make her dive like in the old games? Well, good thing we got that Cayman lung stuff. That gaze gives no away except for an occasional clue that he's in your general area. Yeah, right. And then when me and the boys get there, it's left without a trace. You got to be quicker. The problem is you're not trying to anticipate his every move. You got to learn Island. To learn Island, you got B Island. To B Island, you got to change your name by default or depot. I'm never sure if it's depot or default. I don't know if it's like a thing. That was a hand there. Give us a hand. Oh. It's right, Lara. There's air bubbles there. You're going as fast as I can make you go, so I'm sure you'll survive. As long as the creature from the descent isn't here, because... Or the creatures, I should probably say. I'm trying to be iron, but the dogs keep attacking me when I try and steal them. You gotta be the dogs, you know? And to be the dogs, you've got to see the dogs. And to see the dogs, that's an electric eel. Eels up inside ya, finding an entrance where they can. Eels up inside ya, finding an entrance where they can. Burn through the belly for Uranus. Eels. Top secret, innit? True. And I keep having to get buckshot removed from my hind parts because of stupid owners. Well, you should probably be wearing some sort of gun shield. Don't be a dick. Eels up inside ya, finding an entrance where they can. Oh shit, he's not dead yet. I mean, she's not. I thought I was completely and utterly done for, but apparently eels have a massive weakness for knives. Tricks wear a dog walking outfit and have a fan full of cages as a disguise. Yeah, that's a good shout. Stabby, stabby. See, she's all good. You're good, gal. You're good.
Jonah, I've come out in some sort of cabin. There are signs that people have been here.
Yeah, some McDonald's boxes on the floor, cigarette butts, used condoms. So that's melee, is it? Back in the water we go, hey? No! I don't really want to be in the water. Don't like it. Maybe I'm gonna try. Maybe I was gonna try and grab. No, that didn't work. You have a fan full of cages, but it's full of exotic birds. Oh, that's your problem then, isn't it? Path under there. Was that a thing down there? No, I don't think it was. It's a room, but I can't evict him. Fucking bird law. Oh, true, man. Squatters' rights counts for birds too, sadly. Can I get over here and steal the Aladdin treasure? Will the cave collapse if I do? Maybe I just need to shoot some shit. Maybe not. Yeah, I know I need to get up there. I tried jumping on it. See, that didn't work. That Koza So-So. Huh. Probably better him than the actor who plays him. Alright, we gotta do this shit, gal. What are we missing? I want to wear that. That's a cool mask. Ooh. Oh. I'm gonna climb up these things, maybe? Oh, Jesus. Controller went a bit mental there. Eh. What am I meant to be doing? Send an arrow for help? Is that a thing? Probably. Maybe I just need to use a gun on it. Huh. Maybe not. Oh, no, don't you ditzy mare. There must be something I'm missing. Somewhere. It's gold, shit. Hey, Jimmy P! How you doing, my man? Been oh wow, I'll have a hydration of water. Got tea there, but some good old H2O, yes. How you doing today, buddy? I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get up there. Let's see, open your heart, Einan, and your Steam account. It has. I hope you've been keeping splendid. I feel like I am gonna jump up here. Oh, you son of a bitch. I hate you, Lara. Why doesn't this game have more things that are coloured so I know 100%? It's got little white dustins, I guess. I've only just noticed that, but... Okay. You can climb up there, you goddamn runner bean. There isn't anything to jump over to, is there? Oh, yeah, there is. That's shit. Okay. What the fuck are you Wemmers playing at St. Finish and shit? Oh, man, honestly. I was like... So, yeah, we were 2-0 up at the end of first half. Couldn't believe my ruddy luck. Noble's last game at home as well. You guys bring back 2 goals, but I couldn't believe... I mean, Mahrez looked like he was absolutely shitting himself before that penalty. And Fabs is an absolute legend, obviously. So yeah.
Hear me. I think I'm still on the path.
Looks open enough. Just keep an hours and other friends secret.
Get to the top.
Wait, you can keep hours secret. What's down here? No spider. Grapple 2 axe balls. Throw the axe while jumping to reach the... What? Oh, what's that? Fucking hell, really? Roll it! Oh, really? Now, how do I swing? There we go. Can I only swing forward? I can't. Oh, we just have to hold that and then do the backward and forward thing. Alright. Okay. You kept our secret. Pretty much everything else open, at least friends. Fair. Better on our game then. Oh yeah, goddamn, yeah, 10 men, dude. It's squeaky bum time for Everton. I don't forget. I was 20 years old, but I can't remember damn deets. Oh yeah. Did you have any games on there?
Incredible. Jonah, I'm at the next trial. The Eagle. It has something to do with the wind.
I'm still tracking west. Heading downward now. There's an underground river.
Yeah, Everton's fucked up. There. Bin's right there. Right. What I gotta do? Tomb Raider, hotter than the sun. Camera sees her buns on her hair. Purse.
What's at the end of these trials?
Story time.
The hidden city, but what else?
Went down to 10 really early. That sucks,
I
man.
hope Jonah's all right.
No, it was once. I can't remember. Yeah. I can't believe what's happened to Everton. Have been a shock this season, though, man. I can't believe how much they've slipped. Best believe their shit. Okay, puzzle time. As we all know, I'm very good at puzzles, so we'll be through this very quickly indeed. You got Palace at home and Arsenal away left. What's the scenario for Everton staying up and going down at this point? Like, what has to happen for them to stay up and what has to happen for them to go down? Also, go easy on Palace because we need Palace to beat West Ham need Palace to beat Man U on the last day so we can beat Brighton and get Europa League. Although we got the conference, we got Europa League conference now in the bag, so that's something at least. Yeah, ticking it. Let's go, Rhea. Nope, that's not where I'm allowed. You had a good bet on Everton get relegated this season, and this season they pulled this. Oh, last season, fucking hell. Bernier needs fuck things up. We're good. Okay, that's always a good potential. She dies a lot this one. Okay. Okay. You're not gonna go up? Okay.
Might be a ladder if it was the right way up.
Mum might be a ladder.
Need to find where to start the machinery. Have to climb down.
I don't wanna. If I climb down to that, will you kill me again? Yep. See, you bastards. What is... No. Bastards. Yep. No. Oh! Gravity is kind of like the Final Destination monster. If you keep resisting it, it will definitely get you in a stronger way later on. Facts. Can I, like, shoot some of this shit or something? No. You and Bernie have 2 left. Okay. Leeds only have 1 game left, but can move a point above us with a win. But only 1 game left. Okay. Not a pair of bums this season. Burns, Jesus. I've been trying to avoid all their players. Last season you had at least a couple from both teams. Yeah. You have a 2-point lead over Bernie. Okay, so you should be safe, but... There's no guarantees in football. Yeah. See, Lara, I wish there was a way I could turn your sass off. I know what I gotta do. Oh, I can climb on that? Alright, that's good to know. I was just doing that so I could see around, and then she's all like... Oh! Wait, I just got back here again. That's where I was before. Turn around. No, what are you doing? Why is the camera changing on me? I want to look... Wait, woman! No. Why are you so bad at this, Lara? I'm holding down. Why'd you keep going? Learn directions. No, you're meant to hold on to that. I mean, at a point we've got a better goal difference than Leeds. Okay. For now. Where am I even going to go from there?
Need to find where to start the machinery.
It's you, Lara. That's what you sound like. Oh yeah, I forgot I could do that. Can we keep going down? Oh no! Oh no, she's right. How do I heal? No, no. You just heal naturally. I can't remember. Put your gun away, Lara. She's probably better by now.
They can't afford this by hand.
Maybe you're just not strong enough, Lara. Jeez. Sorry, where is it wanting me to jump? Oh, up. Keep jumping up. Oh, no. Am I going to go up or down at this point? I really don't know. Oh. What are we doing? Okay, that seems healthy. Ish. No, I don't actually know. That does seem healthy. Or maybe I can jump over there. Fuck it. Wee. Oh, no. Bad idea. Bad idea. Oh, disappointment from that last game, and I'd have been relaxed. Yeah, man. Sounds like you were proper close to it as well. That's how we'll stop in Liverpool, so I think we're fucked if we don't beat Villa on Sunday. Yeah, we're great. West Ham are great. I'm still working on it. There's a bit of cloth over there. Well, this makes me think I am meant to climb this way somewhat. Oh, and I just about caught that one. Even draw with Vanilla, fucking hell, with Villa, and you're out. Oh shit. Should have been better. Don't choose Mahrez to take goals. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying.
This looks promising. Magnificent.
Thanks. Mahrez is usually cool. He was bricking it hard, man. Oh shit. Oh. Why do games make you pay attention? Proper rude, isn't it?
Got it.
Yeah. Do you like who was pooping it before the kick though? Yeah. Sailor's diarrhea, I think they call it.
Can't climb this one yet.
I guess I'll fix it. City going to give Liverpool quadruple? Pretty much. Just because I couldn't beat West Ham. I mean, we are massive, let's be real, so. And he didn't even go high or low. Usually takes well better pennies than that. Yeah, man, that's it. Well, Fabs is a class act, you know. Don't beat yourselves up too much, you know. It was the great Fabianski that saved it, so it's not your fault, you know. Bless you. They tried, bless them. Yeah, but watch Liverpool repay West Ham's like favour of gifting them the Premier League by trying to like buy Bowen off us for a stupid amount, and our board for actually accepting it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That was close.
That wasn't really. You're alright. Calm down. You're getting hysterical. Have it. I need those reverse rocket thrusters. I'm guessing that wasn't in this game. Where am I going? Am I carrying them that way or what? No, nothing further on that way. So why did I need to shoot that across? I don't believe I can get to it. Unless I'm in a... No, actually I have no idea what I'm doing. Assume that was the right thing to do. Maybe we'll go back in here and hope for the best. Do I need to get back over there? I can't even remember how I got here. Wasn't there beams that were helping me last time? Maybe I meant to be back over there. Okay, bear with me. Boop. You blame Bottle John Morez? Get him. Imagine if we're winning all the pots and everything going down. Sad times. Yeah. That's what you get for supporting the Merseyside team, I guess. You knew the risks. I should be allowed to climb up that. I've got to smash that door somehow. Ah, okay. Making some leeway. Can I pick this up? That'd be neat. Neat, neat, neat. Oh. Oh. Did that almost break something?
Got to be a way to open the door somehow. This might work.
Oh, hello. You're so good at puzzles. No!
The lever is too worn to hold the door.
Mum's too worn to.
Yes, that'll hold.
I know. Boom.
There.
Sweet.
Good. The ladder should turn now.
I know. It should turn. Oh. Uh-oh. Oopsies. Uh-oh.
Got to find another
Uh-oh.
way up.
No, no, get back down. Get back down. Go. Oh, no, you're right. You're right. I thought she was going to die. Oh, shit. Whoa, careful, lass. Careful.
Maybe I can climb the machinery.
Machinery, you crazy cow. Look at it. Ah. this where I just jumped off from? I think it is, isn't it? Maybe I'm meant to climb onto this again? Oh shit, fucked. Whoa, bollock sticks. Ah, okay, well. Hardly my fault. Stop that, Mojo. Stop that right now. Oh yeah, she doesn't die there. What do you mean she's gonna die there? Okay, this should be alright. And whoa! Ah. That killed her? Oh man. Actually, am I meant to jump back on that? Boy, do I hate jumping onto beam snipers in a game to cruise even if you make it. For real, man. That's basically their law. So I've got to find a good spot to jump, I guess. It won't let me grab to that. Platform shit. Maybe I'm meant to jump on those spinny blocks. I'm going to try and jump on this one. No. Alright.
Maybe I can climb the machinery.
Yeah, you said that, but you can't. So. Move on. Nope, 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 nope. Why'd you have to do this to me, Lara? Like, chill 1 second, and then you're really mean to me the next moment. God damn you. God damn you. God damn you. Let's start again.
Maybe I can climb the machinery.
Oh, that. Oh, fucking hell. Those things there, I didn't see them lighting up. Alright. Son of a bitch. It's the multiverse of Lara. That's what's happening. Oh. I'm telling you to go left, Lara. Now we get in there. Also, I think I've said it in every Lara Croft game, every Tomb Raider game. Her grip strength, her upper body and bicep strength, fucking crazy good.
Face to face in a temple built in your honor.
That wasn't too far. It's a computer game. I was pressing the roll button. She could have rolled out.
You suck!
No, it's the kids that suck. No, you daft man. So I guess I got too high? Maybe I've got to get higher still and climb back down. There.
Face to face in a temple built in your honor.
How do we get across to that bit? Oh, that's cool. Trying to get down a bit faster.
Careful.
Don't worry about it, you got great upper body strength. See? Look at that finger grip! I don't even climb and shit, and that's... I know that's impressive. Run, bitch, run! And it's like your jetpack, right?
Jonah, I'm past the Eagle Trial.
And it was super easy!
Closing in on the hidden city.
Let me smash this shit, give me that. It's my house now, give me that.
Impossible.
It's not impossible if you believe in yourself, Lara. Okay. Seems like bird shit is the new yellow because the climbing indicators in the horizon were similar, just look like a... Yeah, that's it. Like smeared white. Which isn't the easiest to keep an eye on. I'll take some shield. Got enough space for shield, but not enough space for gold? Come on, let me manage my own inventory, Lara. And how do I dive? All I want is to get a... There we go! Now we've Tomb Raided. Oh no, actually we need to make her now drown like a spider.
Impossible.
You're
I can't
impossible,
carry
Lara.
anymore.
Oh, hello! Oh, hello. Too subtle for you. Even once you used it... even once you was used to it, you still found it hard to find. Yeah, fully. I'm gonna go up the way right in front of me, you know. Just a Tomb Raider instinct I have. From hours. Hours of playing Tomb Raiders. I mean, whew. The clocks that have seen what I've been up to. Oh.
Remember today, little brother?
Hey, the mighty my man! How you doing, dude? Life feels good. Oh, I think I just got summoners at my front door. No idea who that is. Oh no, just a campaigner. Fuck that noise. Okay, let's carry on. Oh, Lara. Okay, can we get up there? Yes, we can. Oh, why is it vibrating? So how many in the thousands did it take for you to do the last part? Oh, like first time. Yeah, did it really quick. Yeah. Is he still at my front door? Let's see. I love having a video doorbell. Oh, he's still standing there. Yep. He's reaching for the leaflet. He's going to put it from my door. Watch it. You can probably hear me. I know it was you, Mojo. I know. I'm guessing, because we got the local elections here soon, I'm guessing it was a Green Party. Do look like a hippie. I'll check the door when I go for my break next. He's still there. Leave. Get off man's yard, you. Alright, it's done. You're done, fam. Had enough fucking leaflets from politicians through the door. Get to fuck. Literally, all it would take, any party, all they would need to do is put a letter from my door saying, yo, we'll legalise weed. That's it. I'll be like, sweet, here's my vote. Hopefully you don't, like, skin children and stuff on the other side of it, but, yeah. Tell me shit I want to know, you know? Some of the funniest videos on YouTube are doorbell cams. Yeah, man, that's it. It could have well have been a Tory, to be fair. It could have been, just, times are hard, so he didn't have enough money. Oh, that was a pretty good shot. Thanks, mate. Hey, that's the feather I was hoping for.
All full up. Can't carry anymore.
Story time? Vote a skin children party. Only if they said they'd legalise weed. You gotta swings and roundabouts, weigh it up, you know. I'm gonna save that skill point. And you'll never get your money away. No. I camera on the buzzer downstairs so I can yell fuck off through the intercom. Nice, yeah. To be fair, and children have the smoothest skin, so it kind of makes sense. Not a sentence I need to hear from you, but yeah, sure Lib Dem said they would. They did, yeah, but then they got in power, and they didn't. Well, they got half in power. Lib Dems have had it in their manifesto. I haven't read their most recent one, actually. But they've had it in their, like, manifestos for fucking forever. But, yeah, it's harder with them now, because I used to vote Lib Dem for, like, the more national stuff. But, then they just bottled it when they got the coalition with, Conservatives. I don't like the sound of this one. I've got a fucking Spider-Man this shit. Fucking hell, Laura! Jesus, woman. She's had her Weetabix.
Got to be more careful.
Oh, you want a camera? The only time I've ever voted was for Lib Dem because they had weed and leaflet. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I mean, what's wrong?
Can't stay here.
No shit. You said we couldn't stay there, but we can't go down either? I mean, Lara, make up your mind. Alright, we're gonna go for that far one. Fuck these near boys. Nope. It turns out our grapple hook was quite small. Why don't you hold LB then tap A? Ah, that's how we did it. Are you a gladiator? Do 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 do. Are you a gladiator?
It's giving way.
It's alright, Lara. Calm down. You gotta get up to get down. Swan dive. Shit, I'm in water. Who would have guessed?
All right.
There's treasure under that waterfall. First law of gaming. Always put treasure under your waterfall. These guys can't serious about game making, clearly. Power slide. Very slowly walk. Is that a cat? Oh, that's a bunny rabbit.
Jonah, I made
No, I was gonna murder.
City. I'm gonna look for the serpent with a silver eye.
Alright, well let me fucking kill a bunny. We gotta have some dinner, Lara. Jeez. Oh, that was a horse. We don't kill horses in this channel. It's not our bag, man.
Hello?
It's my house now. Anyone here? Oh, careful. Oh, hello, what was that? Oh, a little platform.
Who's there?
Ooh, that. It's more of a children's kid. Oh, talk of the devil.
I can help you. Get back! You don't belong here.
None of that stuff exists, I'm sure. There's no such clips. I know it hurts, but if I skin you, government says I can have weed, so... Oh shit, their government also said the same thing. I never realised. It's a battle royale type thing. Whoever gets the kid's skin, or capture the flag, I guess is more appropriate. Whoever gets the skin, gets the legalisation of weed. That's what the Tomb Raider games have been leading up to for all these years. Oh god, that guy had the penis badge. Guys, I remember enough exactly. Oh, here we go. Laura's bringing it home to London.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a really good shot from us. I think I just saw Ben Kingsley. We're gonna get medieval on their ass.
Who are you?
Hope they legalise it and tax it the same as tobacco.
I'm a
If they did, it would be very expensive. It's more just about not being a criminal.
We must find safety. Bring her.
Backing me up. I'm a very attractive young lady. They don't need to be doing that. It's insulting and derogatory.
You're not only my son, you're my heir. You must not court unnecessary danger.
A dude trying to date danger. What an idiot. They can tax it by no longer spending tax money trying to control it. Just let people grow it, innit?
Let you safe.
Have a nice little spot in my garden, you know. It'd be lovely. Nice scent. It'd go well with like the lemons and like lavender and mints and stuff I have out there. Smorgasbord for your nose. And noses borgard. Norgasborgard.
I followed a map from a temple. I was expecting ruins, not you or any of this.
Rude, Lara. First, you culturally appropriate their costumes, or clothes, and then
Why did they attack you?
and then you tried to skin a child.
I recognize their insignia. I know them as Trinity. I'm trying to stop them.
Hey, I always got haircuts. I get a haircut once a quarter, I have, you know. Pretty much once every 3 months I have a haircut. They always do it way too short, and then I'm scared to get my haircut for the next 3 months again. Yeah. Last place I got it though, Turkish barbers. They did loads of cool shit. I'll be going back there for sure.
No. I just can't let Trinity, the cult, get to it first.
Only government-approved big pharma grown weed allowed. That probably would be the case. I mean, that is kind of currently the case. You can get it medically over here. It's just you have to pay a lot of money for it, which is kind of bollocks. Like, you can't really get it through the NHS.
Show you something.
There's like 3 kids who have it through the NHS. Everyone else has to have it privately, and that costs a fuckload of money.
Do you know what this
And apparently it's proper shit stuff.
This is by Titi. You're ready.
TT.
By TT. City.
CT. TTCT. Take me down to the Patiti city.
It's a place of death and sacrifice.
It's a place of death and sacrifice. Is it?
And you think your artifact
You got a Turkish place right. I got a Turkish place right near me where I go. They're not great with black hair, but they do mine well enough that I can't be asked travelling further. Fair man. That's it. Yeah, I actually saw a review on this one from about a year ago where they had the same criticism. Like somebody said they just don't know how to do black hair. But this one was good. They gave you a nice little experience at least. It was cheap. It was still the same price as other ones. You get tea with it. Get that little fire on a stick where they burn the hair off your sides and stuff and all that shit. Little massage at the end. It was for all for like 15 quid. It was sick. But
who else is looking for you?
Yeah. There's no one else.
Did my hair okay, but I think they were more going for like, this is what everybody thinks is a cool haircut now, right? That's not what I asked for, is it? I feel your pain. I won't let me get booze on the NHS either. It's just ridiculous, Iron, right? You know, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. They let you clean your hands with it when you go to the hospital, I'm sure, but yeah, they can't let you drink it just to try and help you. They don't know it won't definitely do it. Ozzy Osbourne apparently has some like thing about his DNA where he just like he can just drink more and shit. Who's to say we aren't all that way as well? Super place not too far, but until you're driving, you're sticking with the dead close ones. Yeah, that's fair, dude. Like comfort and cheapness over decency, I guess. Oh shit, Reaper! How you doing, man? A little smoke session name there. I like. But how you doing? Been a while. Hope you're keeping well. As you can see, we're Lara Croft in. Talking about how neither weed or alcohol is obtainable through our national health system in England, which is it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Join Unuratu in the market district. Will do. This chick's just staring at me. You okay? Blue heron tunic. This outfit bears the official colours of Queen. Blah 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 blah. Oh, so blue people we don't kill. Just skin their children.
I apologize.
No worries,
As
I
the
forgive you.
rebel leader, I have to be careful. I am the rightful queen, Unuratu.
Sorry, there's a shiny thing over here. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, I'm wearing their clothes. Swan dive. Sweet. Been here 2 seconds, already digging up their shit. Where'd she go? Okay. Oh. Oh, hello, I can pet it. Yeah. Ah, that's a good llama? I think it's a llama. Don't be alarmed. Hey, Ben Kingsley. Click it or no? Good question. Not killing blue people? That sounds like racism. No, it's just because the new Avatar movie's coming out soon. You know, we've got to stand in solidarity. Oh. Oh shit, I'll read this.
I'm not sure.
Blues are different.
Dialect is familiar, but something's not right.
Blues never lose. Cannot decipher. Well, can't kill either. Bollocks. Can't decipher, can't murder. Why am I even playing this game? Whee. Yeah, Reaper, have you been on like RP fronts anywhere? I know it's been a long time since Avalanche, but you still on it at all? Like in other spots? I haven't been on an RP server for a long, long time myself. Okay. Blue's probably a bunch of bastards, right? Oh, this kid's gonna give me a skin.
Says the waterfalls waka if I play in the cave.
Oh.
She just thinks it's too dangerous, even though there's all kinds of neat stuff in there.
Oh shit. Do you reckon they got like a switch or? Oi oi, 20%. Oh my god, just having a little wonder.
All
I don't know,
for
you're
that.
barely halfway.
Can't carry any more.
I'm basically there. Watch out. Hasta luego. Oh, who are you? Fucking coming in here chatting shit to me.
Careful, friend of Unuratu. The Jaguar warriors. Don't
Well, he's wearing red.
They are always watching for
So am I allowed to?
rebel activity.
Can I mark him?
And they have no mercy.
Oh, used to be a blue chat name until evolved into a final form. Ah, right. Different is scary. I'm not allowed to kill this guy. That is pretty mean. Seen the full Dave. Eminent is nothing in comparison. Oh shit.
He has them.
Enough, Taki. You lost your
Enough!
Are you okay?
No.
No.
They took my dice, and no one believes me.
Nah.
But he took them.
Why would the dead need your
A
dice?
dead man took your dice. Are you sure you didn't lose them?
Ugh,
I'm sure he did.
they're as bad as the rest.
Oh, the fight happens
I'm
and
sorry.
Mojo
You're right.
emerges
I'll tell you
victorious.
what, I'll pay
And
very
Iron has
close
sand in his
attention, and
eyes.
If I see Pisco the dead, I'll ask for your dice.
Points are
back.
being made today.
Really? You believe me?
No, but you'll pay me,
It
right?
won't be the first time the dead seem to speak to me.
Really? Lara, if the dead are speaking to you, you either need to get a film contract with M. Night Shyamalan or see a doctor. Probably see a doctor. Like a proper like psychiatrist doctor, not just like podiatrist. You taught him a valuable lesson there. I wanted to see if I could set fire to this stuff with my flaming bow, but no. They need more signs. I mean, this is blatantly the market district, but do a bit more sway and we're going to see everything down there.
We're
Hello.
here during a busy time, friend. The tanners, the butchers, the weavers, the dyers, even the teachers. All the districts
Get
are
'em, Aina.
preparing.
Can't
The
teach you
market will be
unteachable.
busy. Great things are on the
That's what my
horizon
teacher
for
said.
the city and its people. We all must do what we can to help Kukulkan usher in a
Yeah,
new
tell me
world.
what you need. Oh, is that it? You just wanted to have a chat? I'm Lara Croft, dude. I'm busy. What are you saying? You're not even going to pet this llama? You're just going to point at the little fella? Or are you encouraging people to pet the llama? I fell for your trap. Bollocks. Get out of the way, lady.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Where's this hoe bag? All the way down there? Come on. I'm a guest in your city. Where's like the tram? Well, can you get like a go-kart? Come meet me. It's a bloody massive area. What are you saying?
It can't be an illusion.
Okay.
It has to be those children.
Probably.
Something wrong.
Huh? Oh, yes. Something is terribly wrong.
What's wrong?
Every morning, I wake up and everything in my house has been moved.
Oh.
You said something about an alluge.
Oh shit, ghost.
Oh, no, you too.
Is Rust any good?
Alluge aren't real. It's the children. They enjoy torment.
I've not played
You
Rust
could block
myself.
the entry,
I enjoyed
and they could get
watching
in.
two
I
types of
tried that.
videos of
They
Rust.
still found a
One
way
was
in.
people doing like
Maybe I
massive,
should just
massive
move.
planned raids on each other. That was quite fun to watch. And a dude called Daniel from SL who used to troll people a lot on Rust. Or just troll videos on Rust can be quite funny. But it's the sort of game that looks like, unless you're playing it with buddies, I think you'd probably just get pissed off. Because everyone's just going to try and like potentially fuck your shit up and stuff. It's always one of those games that, because people can fuck your shit up off stream, like offline. Like if I can't get to, do I really have to go this way? I feel like I've gone the wrong way. But it, like if I wasn't going on for 2 days, somebody could come to my castle or whatnot and smash that shit up whilst I'm away. And I'm just like, that's a bit annoying. Like it'd be annoying spending so much time on something and then coming back and it's just been wiped out instantly, you know? Yeah, proper grindy. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it'll take you a long time to get anywhere on it. Short Trade saying definitely thought it'd get trolled. Did make me wonder if it's grindy too. Yeah, see, I bought a game called Ark, which I think I knew. I think it was you and Kenny that were recommending it to me. Because I think we were going to try and do a little server. I remember buying that game and I never once played it, and it was a similar thing. Like, looks cool, lots of base building, grow your own animals and shit. But then I was like, it seems so long as well. There's a lot. You got to grind a lot for it to happen. Where are we going? Oh, she's down there maybe because there's a crowd of people. Big and grind stuff. Yeah, really, they can fuck your shit up when you're off. Yeah, that's it, man. Oh, there is PvE. Okay, fair enough. There is PvE. Okay, don't want to get into games where it's not worth it unless you play the game all the time, every day. Yeah, that's it. You had a lot of fun with Ark, but you don't mind some grind. I guess it depends on whether or not you get a decent like reward for it. You know, like is the payoff worth it? Get out of my way, you nerds. This is clearly where I'm meant to be. Are you gonna?
Big what?
A big what? You bastards! Are you really blocking the way in? This is exactly where I need to be. Do you guys not know how to treat visitors? How am I meant to get over you nerds? Am I meant to come for a different entrance? What's happening here? I was meant to come across that bridge. Well, I didn't. Just let me in the marketplace. Oh, you fucking penises. Okay. That's nothing. I was wondering if I could just turn off PvP because I don't want to. Yeah, that's fair. PvP would only be really fun with a little crew. Yeah, fair. These fuckers aren't going to let me in either, are they? Could you all fuck off? You're so tall. Ben Kingsley, why won't you and your goons let me pass? This is where I'm going to be. I was asked to come here by the Queen, you bastards. I'll have you. Oh, fucking hell. I had to go through that one particular way. If the payouts are decent, I'd consider it part of the game, but grinding I consider something you just have to work. Yeah, that's it. Like GTA Online, perfect grind example. Grind all the way to get what you need. Can't actually be fucked to play it once you get it.
When the catastrophes come, the god Kukulkan must be sacrificed to power the sun. Otherwise, the world dies.
Sacrifice a god.
The sacrifice is my duty.
Oh.
But this cult leader will take my place and attempt to become the god.
Where'd you get the... Oh.
He believes we can remake the world.
Well, you got to
into
sacrifice a
paradise
god.
of
So if they want to become the god, let them have it. Sacrifice them. Win-win, right?
What?
I was hoping maybe I could just switch on passive mode. Yeah, build some cool shit out. There probably is a creative mode. There's a lot of games that, like say Raft, for example, you can play the survival aspect of it, but you can also do a creative mode. I think there's a few like that I did. Pretty cool mask.
I know.
Ah!
That's Dr. Mingus.
Behold! The instrument of our unity and salvation.
Oh, I thought we'd be talking in, you know,
Our dreams of peace
the language
and
that
safety
people here were talking in.
will be realized.
You're talking about safety, waving a big knife, wearing a little skirt, dude. Your legs are
His
on show.
real name is
You can
Amaro.
nip your leg.
He was born here.
Fucking those sounds right
But
there. Really love Minecraft and creative. See, that's another game I've got that I've just never really got around to putting
People
too much
believe
time in. I got it. I went to a rave with my mate Bob and Gil, because Gil showed us how Minecraft worked. It was pretty fun. It was a good little day, but that's the only time I've ever played it. I should get on it at some point. We just needed, I think that was another game we talked about setting up a server and having some fun with, but we never got around to it. You do that sort of thing with Arcs, maybe Rust is similar. You could change the world to boost resources. Such. Oh, okay.
You are worried about worse to come.
I wouldn't mind giving Arc a try at some point, but the other big side of that was it was like over 100 gigabyte. And I was like, nah, I'll always have to work to find that space.
Forever.
I know him well. If Amaru's successful,
But, I mean, Aina knows Arcs alright. Myself and Aina have Arc, so then that's, I reckon that'd be a better option than Rust. There's another game I played that was a bit like it, Grab. I brought an early access game called Grab once that was similar. It was like in space kind of as well, but like I think that never really made it that big. Oh, the forest, yeah, I think I've seen like a while back now, like the odd like Markiplier type thing.
Hakan, enough.
It actually looks like he goes to the same barbers as me.
Justice will be met in good time.
That's a good eye
Do
texture.
not jeopardize our rebellion for the sake of impulse.
It's a pretty nice eye texture. Forest is classy, Falham too. Oh, okay. Well, there was also Ancestors. Ancestors, which you already have on PlayStation, but that was a decent survival game. How do you mods work? There's like a Steam or in-game marketplace. You have to go to non-reputable place now and stuff. It can be very different per game, Mojo. So so there's a lot of games that, like City Skylines, for example, you can pretty much do all of the mods on City Skylines. Well, you can do like there's thousands of mods for City Skylines on Steam Workshop. Super easy. Just click subscribe on it. It's in your game. You just have to activate it in the settings in your game.
I'll find the box.
But then there's other games like, say, Skater XL, for example. That one you had to download the mod manager and stuff, and people had to make the mods. You had to put it in and more. So you had to do a bit more like trusting on the download sources and stuff. So it depends on the game. Lots of games can be modded. Some of them you just have to put your own effort in. Some of them Steam Workshop. Some like Fallout, you can spend like just as long modding your game on Fallout as you can like playing it. There's so many mods, and the conflicts and stuff like can take a while to get some working. But
Jonah, can you answer?
mods get everything. Oh, Forest 2 is coming out. I didn't know that. City Skylines sick. I fucking love it, man. Just be completely warned, with City Skylines, it's very much got the Football Manager effect. You would just keep playing. It'll be 5 AM and you'll be like, fuck, man. But I just want to see this district I've built grow a bit, so I'm just going to stick it out for a bit longer. Watching your city districts grow is kind of like the transfer market in Football Manager. You're always waiting. You're like, nah, I've got to wait until it gets to a good point, you know? You know. Why does everyone have to keep being far away? You know? You know? Nice little costume, but is there any health benefits? Because that's what I'm about, baby. Go on, Gav. Oh shit, Jimmy baby! Thank you very much for the 44 months now, my man. God damn, son. With Jimmy Taxamica, dude. That is super nice of you, man. And how are you doing? Also, did I ever get back to you about your last song? I remember listening to it, but I don't know if I actually sent you a message about it. It was good. Got a summer idea. How do I get to where I want to get? I need to get over there. Wait, am I going completely... Where am I? Oh, shit. I don't mind games that suck you in for hours, but I don't like games that you have to play pretty much all the time. To be honest, GTA Online is one of those where you've invested fully. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. Those sort of games can get long, but City Skylines is rewarding to keep playing and playing and playing, because you're constantly growing your towns and stuff. Also, I would say, like with City Skylines, if you're doing it properly without like mods and cheats and shit, be prepared to fail a lot in the beginning. You'll probably restart a lot of cities, but each time you're like, oh man, that works well good. Like next city, I'm gonna fucking kill it with that. Like it's a really fun game. You learn a lot. And City Skylines 2's been, I think, in the rumour mill for a long, long time now as well. So hopefully that's something that's coming about. Why are you making a bed?
Have you come here to escape the bustle of the city?
And I'm doing splendid. Cheers, Jimmy dude.
It's louder and more crowded every day.
Yeah. Stop letting people in from the city then. You know, city dwellers up in here. Oh no. I'm not allowed to smash anything in this town. Oh, hello. I play Tropico, always fail early. Shit. That's it, yes, I'm similar, man. Cannot decipher. Well, that's disappointing, isn't it? I'm gonna steal that oil. Oh no, it's fat. Hello. Okay, roll down the stairs. Get out of my way, nerd. Play that funky music, man bun. What are you saying?
Are you Pisco the Dead?
Oh.
You can see me? At last, Pisco is seen. Are you also Daddy Shiki?
No. So you are Pisco the Dead.
Give up your life and buy a Football Manager.
I am Pisco, servant of the gods.
It really is. I've just got my I started with a League 2 team. I've just got them in the conference. And yeah, I quite often find like I'm watching an episode saying like, well, if I'm watching something, I may as well play a bit of Football Manager in the background. And then like you soon find out you're just trying to find shit to put on in the background whilst you're playing Football Manager.
But you survived.
Only my body.
But yeah, keep an eye out on like Epic. They are quite often. I'm banking on them giving the next Football Manager away for free as well. I think the last two I got through Epic for free. Yeah. You want, mate? Yeah, that's it, dude. Yeah, yeah. Wow, you've done all three. The Trinity. Like, relates to the
He lost. I don't have
game.
many things, but I won those dice fair and square. If you want, I'll play you for them. Do you want to play a game?
Do you want to play a game?
What's the game?
Talk to 5 people who have been cast out.
How's this
Use
a
their
game?
wisdom and tell me why Taki lost, and I'll give you the dice.
I can do that.
Just stab him. Shank the prick.
The outcasts need only an ear to share their stories.
Take what is yours. He stole them from a child. Don't humour this madman. I mean, what was in here? There was other stuff. I saw another shiny. There we go. Requires a lockpick. Can I have one, please? Hey, why are you being so like scared about locking all your shit? Stop locking your treasure, dum dum. Ash said, download Epic because I always give away free games. Yeah, he showed me his library and Skylines was on it. But oh, it wasn't there. Yeah. Hey, Doc Rude, how have you been, dude? Hey, that was a good little run. It's been a while as well. I hope you're doing swell. Had a few old Avalanche people in today. It's great. Had Doc, we had Jamie, we've had Reaper. Lovely stuff. But yeah, I've never bought a game on Epic. You got me Ancestors from Epic, and I think the rest of them have all just been free games. But that Blair Witch game and stuff was on there for free and shit. Better, woo! La 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 la. Stay well. How you doing today, geezer? Lovely too, man. Hey, and Sty. You like Brentford? Iron's an Everton fan. Why not have a good discussion about that? What the fuck? Why are these dogs like that? This guy's mission is to get him a bra, because look, his titties again. The bees are staying up. It does look that way, dude.
I'm not the only one who thinks it either.
GG.
To say it, apparently.
Are they still free, or is it like PS Plus where you have to download it that month to get the shit? You have to add it to your library during that period, and then they go back to paid for after that, basically. This is a bit annoying, but
so it's no wonder they aren't voiced.
I think they do it at the beginning of the month. Also, Mojo, it's potentially worth. You have Prime. It might be worth you check. I don't know if you already like click all the claim stuff. It might be worth you going through all of like the Prime freebies because they give away loads of free games.
very big world.
Was this free
Bigger
on...
than Paititi?
I think this one might have been
Bigger
free
than
through
100
Twitch as well,
Paititis.
actually. This
What?
Tomb Raider.
Will
Or
you
was
take
it...
me there?
It was either
I
Twitch that
think your
gave this
mother
one
might
for
have
free
something to say about
or
that.
Epic.
What you're looking for is in there.
Okay, so
How will I know
then
when I
they
found
seem
the
to have
right
already given
chamber?
away Skylines. I'll buy
By
it.
the smell of death.
Well, they've given... I remember seeing on the
You
Skylines
can find your
Reddit,
way back through the
they did it
border
like a year
irrigation
ago as well,
system.
and they've done it not that long
I'll
ago.
meet you there.
So they may do it again,
Be careful.
but honestly,
Don't
you can
often
usually find
patrol
City
here.
Skylines pretty cheap. On the Steam sales, it's well cheap. The DLCs usually get quite cheap as well. I haven't got all of the DLCs, but I've got the ones that I care about. And they, yeah, I think I've never spent more than... I don't think I've ever spent more than a $5 for anything for City Skylines, but I've probably put in... You can see how many hours on my games on my Steam, but I think I've put in a good few hundred, right? Epic had all three for free a while ago. Yeah, see, that's it. So sadly, they don't have it right now, but they might do again in the future. But yeah, it's a game that's a lot of fun to play anyway, for sure. And so, oh, and it was Epic that had all the Tomb Raiders for free, right? Okay, because I already had the first 2 on Steam, I think, and then this one must be on Epic. Yeah, I hate Epic for like a lot of their practices, but might as well take those free games, you know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for them to do that with Tony Hawk though. Fuckers still haven't done that. Tony Hawk either needs to be given away for free on Epic or be released on Steam so I can buy it. Well, released on Steam so I can buy it when it then goes on sale in the Steam
Right.
sales. Do. We'll probably die swinging down there, won't we? No. No, you daft mare. Come on. Go down lower. Why won't you swing right now? Swing! Bada, swing! Oh, because I could do that for... I'm an idiot, I didn't realise. So if I hold... Oh, because if I hold the right trigger, that's to activate swing. I just had to press down before. I'm an idiot.
All full up.
No, not
Can't
fair.
carry any
Okay, if you guys say I'm not, it's an understandable mistake. That's fair. I've accepted the footer assault. I mean, you've still got a chance. You're not totally out of the league. I used to claim all the Twitch stuff, but then started adding loads of in. Oh man, yeah. Honestly, it's so long. All of the in-game content for games I'm never going to play. But they do free games once a month usually. Usually at the beginning of the month, I think you get a free game or a few free games. Sometimes there's a decent one, sometimes there's small fun ones, you know. So Steam, Epic, and Origins. Any other problem with? Ubisoft have Uplay or UbiConnect. GOG.com. GOG, good old Grayman? Something like that. GOG's good. That you can buy DRM free games through GOG. So they like you play them, you download it. If Steam or something collapsed one day, it don't matter. You've got the game proper. Whereas Steam, if that went down one day, you might be fucked, kind of thing, you know. And there'll be a million games you'll go, oh, I want to play that, and it'll be like, cool, you want to play that? You have to use our servers to play it on. Like, have fun with that. So yeah, it will happen.
I
Need a
don't
piss.
think anything could have prepared me for this place.
Really? Because you're a Tomb
People,
Raider.
their history,
And you're in a
everything they've
tomb.
lived, and who they are today.
Nah, dude, ask away. PC gaming is an absolute
him
minefield,
tell
so
it?
yeah.
Amaru,
GOG are very
DBS,
cool.
Google
Yeah,
Chrome.
they're
All
like
he wants to keep
Epic are
empty
shit
safe.
for the industry. GOG very good for the
And I've
industry,
seen the
basically.
lengths he'll go to, the murder and cruelty.
Green Man Gaming. I think Green Man Gaming's meant to be an alright one. Bronson put me onto them once. Humble Bundle, actually. Humble Bundle can sometimes do some good bundles. So that can sometimes be worth it as well. Plus, if you do Humble Bundle, hit this partner link up. If you do !Humble or Humble Bundle, you can use my partner link and I get some money. Doesn't cost you anymore, but I get money. It used to be way better though. You used to be able to pretty much give all of it to the streamer. Quick unlimited for counter attack after dodging. What's this? Damage. I don't really care about endurance. Acquired. Don't really care about doing those. Maybe we'll just do that. Upgrade our weapons a bit more. So red's like attack, green's craft, blue is what? Swim? I got 1 skill point. Alright, we'll save the rest of that actually. You've been using GTA a lot for keys? Yeah, to be fair, like there's always a lot of like fear with G2A, because there was, I think especially in the past, there was the odd time where it would be found that people had bought, the people who were selling the games had bought them with stolen credit cards, and if that was the case, you could have the key revoked. But if you're going for like, if you're going for a high percent, like if you're going for someone with a good high percentage, you'll be fine. Like the only time I've used them before, and yeah, basically just make sure they've got a very high, like 99% seller rating. They've sold like 13,000 or 130,000. 30,000. Good as gold. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Also, I need to piss. So we're gonna save the game. Huh. I always forget we can do that. Okay. Let's just assume everything's just purely autosave now. Grab the links once you're there. Yeah, fair. You got a good bundle from G2A the other day for £3, but it was like a loot box. You didn't know what you're getting, but they turned out awesome. You play it free. Okay, nice. Kush day. We are going to go to a quick little break now. I'm going to have a piss, a smoke, and make